Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. On today's show, very shortly, we will be talking about the decline of the MCU, and then we'll be talking about rumours that WB are considering Elliot Page to replace Ezra Miller as the Flash. Very, very controversial. And then please stick to the end of the video because we'll be discussing why Henry Cavill isn't the problem. But Ping Pong Flicks, Chris Wong-Svensson, has made a very good comparison to the current decline in the MCU with the beginning of the DCEU. Let's take a look at this because Chris has made some very good points. BVS divided audiences. Suicide Squad cut reshoot down to 2 hours. Justice League cut reshot down to 2 hours. Eternals divided audiences. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness cut reshot down to 2 hours. Thor Love and Thunder cut reshot down to 2 hours. So these are really, really good points from Ping Pong Flicks, Chris Wong-Svensson. You should really go and check out his YouTube channel. There is a decline in the MCU, but why is the decline in quality so blatant? How has it fallen from grace so quickly? I think the pandemic has something to do with this. It looks like they've got this remit, this order of 2 hour, 10-minute movies so they can have more showings in movie theatres. But why? Because of the pandemic. These studios lost so much money, so they're trying to make some money back. And I mean, these poor studios, you know, they're multi-million-dollar conglomerates, and they're trying to make the money they lost during the pandemic. I'm being sarcastic, of course. They can take the hit, but they don't want to take the hit. They think, we're the fucking MCU. We can do whatever we want. If we reduce the quality and the run times, yeah, they'll moan, but we'll still make $1 billion a picture. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has made around that, but that film has been destroyed by Top Gun Maverick, and Thor Love and Thunder isn't going to get close to the box office of Top Gun Maverick, let alone the Rotten Tomato score or the cinema grade. And so it's interesting, isn't it, how a once, huge franchise, and it's still a huge franchise, but everyone can see that the quality has gone down, and the comparisons to the DCEU after Man of Steel, BVS, and the reaction to those films. But there doesn't seem to be a reaction. It's not a reaction to Eternals, or is it? Am I wrong? Maybe it is a reaction to Eternals. Maybe Chris is right. Maybe because of the reaction of Eternals, and Eternals kind of went, for 2.5 hours, slightly over that. It was a pretty long movie that dragged for a lot of people. I think Eternals is an interesting movie, well shot and well made. It may be one of the last, well-made MCU movies. And I mean, even with Spider-Man No Way Home, a great blockbuster that did really, really well and the fans loved. People spotted bad VFX and CGI in that movie. So there's no question about it. The quality has gone down. And as I say, I think the pandemic has a lot to do with it. Is it merely a case that they thought Phase 4 could be a filler phase, like a filler season of your favourite TV show, a filler episode of your favourite TV show? We can get away with it. Then when it comes to Phase 5, the quality comes up again. I'm not so sure. The MCU is doing a lot. It's stretching itself. As I said yesterday, it's become a conveyor belt. And so they've got the Disney Plus shows. They've got their movies. They're trying to juggle a lot of balls. They don't seem to have expanded their workforce as well, which I think's a problem. Something people don't know is VFX teams are not full-time staff members. VFX companies are employed for movies. Then they're released again, then they're brought back again. So VFX companies are independent bodies. and you bring them on when you want them to do VFX within a movie or within a television show or a streaming show. That's how it works. For me, if I was running a studio, I think I'd like to have my own team working full-time with me at my studio. But maybe there's a good reason why these companies don't do that. So why is the quality of the VFX so low on the MCU Phase 4 movies and content, even the Disney Plus stuff? Well, they're being rushed because, as I say, it's a small team. Now, surely, if you're as ambitious as Disney and Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige, surely you should have a huge fucking team. They're even branding out to animation now. But if they're just using the same people, there's going to be a problem. So right now, the box office is okay, but not brilliant. I expect For Love and Thunder to have a huge bump, a low bump, you know, a grind with its drop-off. I think it's going to have a huge drop-off, as Black Widow had, as Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness had as well. Now, there are people in the media will try and cover for them, and Kevin Feige's planning to excite you all in Hall H of San Diego Comic-Con to distract from the problems with the MCU Phase 4. They have many problems. They've decided to become very inclusive, very woke, and I'm not going to discuss here whether that's the wrong thing or the right thing. So they've got certain sections of the media and YouTube, elite YouTube, going against them. Now, if it was just that, it would be okay. But what you've done, you've given these people an excuse to go after you. Now they can go after you over the lacking quality in your films. Do you see what's happening here? If you want to go woke, fair enough, and you're still going to make great movies, that's great. A lot of people attacked Eternals. I was surprised how much I liked Eternals. I liked the slow pace of it. I liked the story they were telling. Yes, there are some extreme left, extremist kind of takes in that movie, but it is an interesting story. But here's the problem. If you've got customers going on the fastest train alive, and then all of a sudden you say to them, you know what, we're going to start putting coal in our trains and it's going to run a little bit slower now. Your customers are going to go elsewhere. The MCU always had a fast, fun pace about it. Eternals dumped that pace. But I'm used to slower paced movies because I was born in 1972. Our movies and TV shows had slower pacing. So it's okay for me. But for these young kids, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see real movies. But it does seem a little bit that the reaction to these two-hour runtime movies now that they're doing, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, For Love and Thunder, it'll be interesting how long the Marvel's runtime is, and Black Panther 2. Also, you know, that will be interesting if they keep with this runtime. I think they will. There's nothing wrong with a 2-hour movie. It's what's in a movie that matters. It doesn't matter if it's 90 minutes. Rocky 4 is 90 minutes. I love Rocky 4. Masters of the Universe is panned as a movie. It's a very short movie. I like that movie. It's not about the length of the movie, but what audiences can see is that there's a lack of quality. These movies and streaming shows are being rushed and there's nothing much going on with them. Miss Marvel is an interesting case in point. I came on this channel and said I liked the pilot, I liked the first episode, but it was becoming, after that, very blatantly fillery, dull, and boring. And, you know, they're doing lots of cultural episodes on the Muslim community. I think it's the Muslim community, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But with that inclusion and representation, people want to see great action, great storytelling. Miss Marvel, after the first episode, doesn't do that. It becomes boring, and that's the problem. You're not entertaining your audiences anymore, Marvel. You have become basically obsessed with political representation and inclusion and, you know, political point scoring. And as I say, that's okay if you want to do that, but you've still got to entertain your audiences, and you're not doing that. Lack of quality in the VFX, lack of quality in the storytelling, lack of quality in the directing. And not only is there something that should be labelled against the directors, but it's not necessarily Taika Waititi's fault or, any director's fault involved in this stuff. It's Kevin Feige, it's Marvel Studios. These people working on these movies are being put under intense pressure. It isn't just the VFX teams, it's everyone. You're rushing people, they're going back to reshoot certain elements. It basically has become Justice League. Justice League, ropey CGI, a rewritten movie, a remake of 2 hours. Chris Wong-Spencer is absolutely right. We will have to wait and see if Phase 5 improves, and this is just a blip for the MCU. Phase 4 maybe was always meant to be that filler season, that filler phase, and they will get back on track. But as I said last week, this is a huge, huge opportunity in the short term for the DC Extended Universe. In October, we have Black Adam. In December, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I believe those movies will be good, at the very least. And I think if we can get good box offices for them, imagine Shazam! Fury of the Gods keeping pace with Avatar 2. Nobody really knows how popular Avatar 2 is going to be. If Shazam sticks to that date of 5 days, being released 5 days after Avatar Way of the Water, it's going to be very interesting because Shazam! Fury of the Gods is the underdog against Avatar Way of the Water. Avatar 2, of course it is. Nobody can say it's the favourite. But there's an opportunity here. There's a dwindling MCU. Now, the DCEU has its own problems behind the scenes, as we will get to shortly. But there's an opportunity here. Because in terms of films, in terms of content, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, no matter how it did in movie theatres, really good film. Peacemaker, really good streaming series. I think it's probably the best comic book streaming series made for streaming exclusively. It's better than any of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. So you've got those two from James Gunn. And then you've got The Batman, hugely successful, hugely popular. So we're on a bit of a run now. So there is some good quality here. Now, behind the scenes, David Zaslav is developing a DC Studios and looking for a leader for that studio. If he gets that right, we could start taking over the MCU. As I say, this is a huge opportunity because there are big problems behind the scenes at the MCU, and it's not all down to Marvel Studios or Kevin Feige. He has to do as he's told. He has to do what Bob Chapek tells him to do. And this is a very, very serious situation for them. And I believe this could see Kevin Feige quit. Could Kevin Feige jump ship with all the problems at the MCU right now and run DC Studios? Anything, my friends, is possible. Should Elliot Page replace Ezra Miller as the Flash? Who knows what's going on with that film? We've been told that the Flash movie as it is will not recast and it will be released. I don't believe that for a minute. I do believe they are considering replacing Ezra Miller for the current Flash movie, but I could be wrong. But I have heard David Zaslav has ordered extensive reshoots for that movie. He's not happy with elements of that movie, whether that's Andy Muschietti who's going to do those reshoots, and if it's Christina Hodson who's going to rewrite those elements, or if they're bringing in new people, I don't know. Or it could be that after this Flash movie is released as is, because we don't know what's going on, then they sack Ezra Miller, which we've heard from many, many good sources is going to happen. So, Elliot Page used to be Ellie Page, a really good actor. Ellie Page was a great actress. I was watching her in Inception the other day. She's really good. And Elliot Page is a really good actor. Same person, right? But now Ellie Page has become a man. So now he's Elliot Page, and we must respect that. So apparently, and I don't know how true this is, his fans have mounted a campaign to get Warner Brothers to replace Elliot Page, basically replace Ezra Miller with Elliot Page. So very controversial, very interesting. As I've already said, this is a very, very good actor. That's the thing you need to focus on. If you don't want people putting people in groups and judging them on groups, you've got to judge Elliot Page as an actor. Very good on the Umbrella Academy. A very good actor, past and present. No question about that. Apparently now, Warner Brothers are considering replacing Ezra Miller with Elliot Page. Now, I'd love to know in the comments down below, politely please, let's not be disrespectful to the transgender community or to Elliot himself. Just tell me whether you would accept Elliot Page playing the Flash and Barry Allen. Here's my thought. At first, I laughed at this, which was very toxic of me, to be honest. But, you know, I was born in 1972, so some attitudes that I was brought up with are very, very difficult. I do try to become a better person every day. This is the only thing I must focus on, because I've rethought about this recently. I think Elliot Page would actually be a very, very good Barry Allen. I know I'm going to get pelters for this, right? And from the fandom menace and all of that, because I'm sure if this actually happened, the fandom menace would be in their element. Imagine the money, you know, and all the views they would get if this happened, because they would be talking against it. But I think Elliot Page, in all honesty, would be a really, really good Flash. I think he would be a good Barry Allen. Now, is this ever going to happen? I don't know. It seems unfeasible. It seems unlikely, but any publicity is good publicity, and this would give a lot of publicity, negative and positive. It would, of course, divide audiences, something the DCEU doesn't really need right now, but it'd be interesting. But the point is, the guy is a really, really good actor, and I believe could pull the role off. But people's attitudes are the issue here. Do we focus on Elliot being a good actor? Or do we focus that Elliot changed his gender and his pronouns and identity? I focus on the art. I focus if that person is right for that role. And despite how controversial this would be, he would be on my list, because when I think about him, he looks good. He kind of, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've never had a comic book accurate Barry Allen. I was going to say he looks like Barry Allen. He looks more like a Grant Gustin Barry Allen, if you like, or Ezra Miller Barry Allen. But Barry Allen in the comics is actually blonde, and they've never really had that comic book accuracy. It would be good to cast a Barry Allen that's comic book accurate, but this is modern day entertainment, and the words never gonna happen, boyo, I think, as something that come to my mind. But in terms of quality of an actor, quality of an artist, Elliot Page can be considered in that realm because he's a very, very good actor. So apparently WB are considering him in the role. I don't think this is true, to be honest, even though I think the guy is a really good actor, proved it in Inception, proved it in Umbrella Academy. Could he carry this film? I don't know. How many movies has Elliot Page ever carried? I don't think he, as a woman or as a he, has ever carried a project. And the Umbrella Academy has many, many lead cast members. Obviously, Inception had Leonardo DiCaprio and many, many good actors in that film. So that's the interesting thing. So no, I don't think this is actually going to happen, but maybe he is being considered. But I don't know how seriously he's being considered. We do live in very, very different times. This would be a huge statement from Warner Brothers Discovery, because this is the new normal, everyone. You are going to get transgender, you know, actors with different pronouns playing these roles now. This is the future. This is the new normal, whether you like it or not. This is the way it is. We are never going back. This is the modern world we live in now. And as I say, the older people, the people my age, are not going to like that. There's some younger people who won't like this either. But it will happen eventually. Someone with different pronouns to he, him, or she, her is going to get the opportunity to play an iconic superhero. James Bond, The Doctor, iconic roles like that. And this is the new normal. It will happen. It may not be with Elliot Page as Barry Allen in The Flash, but eventually it's going to happen and we're going to have to come to terms with it. And if we don't like it, we just don't watch the film. There's no other way around this. Henry Cavill is not the problem. I repeat, Henry Cavill is not the problem. He never has been a problem. He never will be a problem. He's never been a problem anywhere he's worked. But Henry Cavill likes to get involved with the narrative of his characters. He's obsessed on The Witcher to make sure they're accurate to that game because he's a geek and he's a nerd. Now, when he was making Man of Steel, he made little suggestions, but he wasn't getting that involved. What happened was he was very happy with the way his character went in Man of Steel. But he's been very blatant in saying he's not too happy the direction Clark and Superman went in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. I love Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, and I trust that, and I believe him. Ultimately, in Justice League 3, Superman leads the humans and a metahuman army against Darkseid and his forces, and that sounds like a great story for Superman. But Henry didn't like the direction that film went in for Superman. And of course, he was understandably disgusted by Justice League, the hacking of his upper lip, and he was very angry at the time. So after that, he came into Warner Brothers and said, I want to say so in the shaping of the future of Superman. He pitched a Superman project. They said no. So they went to people like Grace Randolph and other people and started spreading that Henry Cavill is a diva. A diva is someone who wants lots of money, which is what Grace Randolph claimed. That's what her friend Toby Emmerich told her to say. That was a lie. It was never about money. But I do think that Ben Affleck getting paid, and having a higher credit than Henry in some of the DCEU movies wasn't right either. Ben Affleck's, been around for years. He obviously is more famous than Henry Cavill. And at the time, Henry Cavill didn't have many screen credits. But you cast the guy as Superman. It's not like the same situation as Christopher Reeve, Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando. Christopher Reeve had third billing in Superman the movie. It was Marlon Brando, then Gene Hackman. So that's understandable. They were screen fucking icons and nobody knew who Christopher Reeve was at that time. And Christopher Reeve accepted that. But this is a different situation. So in many ways, Henry Cavill was disrespected from the very, very beginning. But it's never been about money for Henry. It's the direction in the narrative for Clark and Superman. And he wants to say so in any new contract. So this is why we haven't seen Henry's Superman since 2017. Because he wants to say in the shaping of Superman. And Warner Brothers, in the past with Toby Emmerich, haven't wanted to give that to him. And it's a very difficult thing to give an actor. How much say-so should he have? Although I will say Henry Cavill is well versed on Superman and the comics and has some good ideas and some good takes on the character. So would it be that big a deal? Isn't it good? Aren't we happy that we have an actor who's played Superman that cares about the role and cares about the narrative of the character and wants a say-so? Because most of these actors today couldn't give a shit. Christopher Reeve gave a shit. We all know that. Kiefer Sutherland gave a shit in the shaping of Jack Bauer on 24. So it's the actors who care, who are more successful and are beloved by us, the audience. And there's not enough actors who care about the art anymore. They care about their political point scoring, but not about the craft. Well, Henry Cavill cares about his craft, and he cares about the shaping of Superman. And I think that kind of mentality, especially in today's entertainment, should be rewarded with a kind of contract that gives Henry some kind of say-so. I'm not saying it should be his word against others. Of course not. A director should have their free will to do what they want to do with their projects and their art. And the studio ultimately needs to be the boss because they're funding these projects. But I don't think it hurts anyone if Henry has a little kind of say in the future development of Superman. But if Henry wants too much of a say, this is where the situation could be problematic. And that's the thing. We don't know how much of a say he wants. Ultimately, I think David Zaslav may need to bend the knee here because Henry is very, very popular as Superman. His version of Superman may not be popular with everyone, like the Zack Snyder version. I like it. I like what Zack did, but I'm just giving an example. But Henry as Superman himself is very, very popular, and so many people out there, including me, wanting to come back, at least get that Man of Steel proper Man of Steel sequel. So I think there may need to be, okay, listen, let's work together, Henry, let's do something special. And I think that's what's going to happen. And David Zaslav, for all we know, may already have bent the knee. We know that The Rock has been hinting heavily about Superman being involved with Black Adam. Probably not hugely, but a cameo at the end or something like that. I hope that's true. I hope it's not just a Superman insignia, although a hint of the future between Black Adam and Superman, of course, would be very, very interesting. Maybe he's keeping Superman prisoner using kryptonite. Who knows? That could be exciting. So if we saw Henry Cavill's Superman in both Black Adam, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, that would nail MCU Phase 4 to the fucking mire, to the stick while they were being burnt alive. So I hope that's happened. Unlikely, but I hope it's happened. So Henry Cavill definitely needs to have that Man of Steel sequel. And then if they want to move on, fair enough. But I think a Man of Steel sequel is something that the audience want and could make a lot of money. And David Zaslav knows this himself. Now, talking of Henry Cavill and Superman, what's happening with J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman? Well, we'll finish off with this today because I think it's important to kind of reiterate what I've already been told. I have spoke about this on Twitter. I don't think I've updated you here on Movies TV Mad, so let's do that. Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams' Black Superman and Clark Kent is dead. It's not happening. Ta-Nehisi Coates won't be writing any Superman movie. David Zaslav has given J.J. Abrams an ultimatum. Write and direct your own Superman movie, either with President Superman, who is a Superman of colour, or with Henry Cavill's Superman. If you don't want to do that, fair enough. And if you don't want to do that, I want you out of this company because you're no use to me. You've been holding Superman hostage for over 2.5, nearly 3 years now. It's not good enough. All your Justice League Dark projects you ain't got started on. It's ridiculous. So David Zaslav is in two minds right now. He's given JJ this ultimatum. Either you write and direct your own Superman movie properly, no Black Clark Kent, or please just leave the fucking building. So please feel free to comment down below on all the subjects I've discussed today on today's video. This has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in tomorrow's video. Until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.